So I guess first off, just a bit about your scientific background and the sort of area that you're researching in.
Yeah. So I am currently doing my PhD at UNSW, and my research focuses on the effect of your diet on cognition, looking more at it from the angle of mental health. And my background is purely within a university setting, so I've only studied at university and worked within the university.
That's cool. So did your love for science stem from your high school background, or was it something you picked up at university? Or
I started to really enjoy science in my more senior years at high school, so year 11 and 12. And yeah, that's when I really started to develop an interest in it and a passion for it. And that was mostly because of the teachers that I had at that time, who were very good at sparking interest.
Yeah, I can imagine. It's similar for me. What areas of science interested you most during your senior years of high school?
Chemistry was my strongest area of interest, but also biology, I suppose, was also quite high up there.
Yeah, biology for me was my favorite science during the high school sort of time. So yeah, no, that's really interesting though. So when did you decide what area you wanted to focus your PhD on?
I decided that I would focus on that area it came from two, I suppose, backgrounds. My first is the biochemistry, where I was always interested in looking at cellular processes and more biological pathways. And the other interest just comes from a general interest in food and what your food does for you, considering everybody eats. So
yeah, who doesn't love food,
yeah,
right? Exactly. So, did you also, so you obviously thought about it with respect to humans as well.
Mm-hmm.
How similar is the research that you're doing now? How closely correlated can those results be to research in humans?
So the work that I do is in animal models, and we can draw correlations between the behaviours that we see in animals and the behaviours that we see in humans consuming poor diets. And a lot of the work that we do is more just the starting stage, so that when we get to humans, we know more specifically what we're looking at, because it costs a lot of money to work with humans and effort to work with humans, and also humans are humans.
And yeah, the ethical issues and everything. But sort of on that point, have you ever run into any difficulties coming up with experiments that don't violate ethical behaviours with respect to the animals?
No, I don't find that I struggle to come up with experiments that are ethically sound. I think that during my research career, I have been very fortunate to be around people who have very strong skills in experimental design, and that has allowed me to develop my skills in that area. And because of that, I think that I don't have as many difficulties designing my experiments. The experiments that I tend to run with my animals are not the types of experiments that would be heavily distressing or harmful to them.
Yeah, I assume so. But have you ever had a fellow researcher ask for advice on that sort of topic, or have you ever seen an experiment done that you were uncomfortable with ethically, or is the UNSW scientific body quite strict with what can and can't be done?
At UNSW, I've not seen anybody doing anything that is unethical or upsetting, but at the same time, I have seen research from labs outside of Australia that has been a little bit questionable in terms of how ethical the research is.
So the sort of research you do obviously requires some high order skills. How difficult were they to develop, and when did you really start to develop them? Was it during high school, university, whilst you're doing your research?
The skills were difficult to develop. They didn't come easily or naturally. I think I started to develop them in high school, where I laid down the foundations of what I would need for university, but university was, I think, the main way that I improved my ability to perform science, to be a scientist. So my skills were acquired through my coursework, but then there were some skills through research and application.
And what were the main skills that research developed?
My main skills from research would be problem solving, and also critical analysis, particularly when you find results that you weren't expecting
And
to find.
how often do you find results that you weren't expecting to find?
All the time.
I suppose that's the nature of experiments.
Yeah, most of the time I find things that I wasn't expecting to find, but that's also what can be exciting about science.
Is it ever disheartening?
It is sometimes, when particularly working with, well, I think any experiment that doesn't work is always disheartening.
With respect to the technical skills, so the actual performing of the experiments, do you think they came more from, like, where do you think you developed them more from?
They were really all developed during my research experience. During university, it was very difficult to have contact with real experiments outside of the group experiments that you kind of run in classes the whole year. So the more technical side of how to do those types of things was learned during my honours year and research assistant work.
What skills do you think are the most beneficial to focus on developing for young aspiring science students?
The most important skill would be well, I think there are two. I think the first is your written communication is extremely important. It's one of those skills that will benefit you in all aspects of your life as well, but being able to communicate effectively is something that's really important for a scientist when you're doing things like writing grants and asking for money and writing proposals. And then I think the other really important skill is problem solving, because a lot of the time in science, things don't go the way that you plan them to go. And so being able to effectively problem solve is a really important skill to have.
Is there any time specifically where you were really proud, or you solved a difficult problem, or something along those lines? Maybe something like when an experiment didn't work and you had to...
So I think the most recent example of my need to problem solve was when I recently ran an experiment in a room that was never designed for behavioural experiments, and I had to figure out how to put attach my camera to the roof and put an appropriate curtain around my objects and my arena and those types of things, which was really hard for somebody who is not an interior designer or builder of any description. That's probably the most recent example of having to problem solve.
But it all worked out, all right?
It all worked out, yeah.
So,
it was a great experiment, yeah.
Okay.
How did it all work out?
So thank you so much for taking time out of your busy day to come and do this interview for us. It's really helpful, and thank you so much for all of the advice you've given.
No problem.